unexpected things in the game and win against UNO. Tiger football. 15 signees yesterday. Every one of them 3 stars. That shocked me. 2 things come to mind because I always say almost exclusively student athletes now pick schools for coaches, not necessarily the school. In this case, and around the country where there are vacancies, in this case, most of these kids have signed because they want to go to that school. Now, there is one other thing you got to mention with that. Money! NIL changes everything. So you have enough NIL to go around, you can still get 3 stars to come even if you don't have a coach. And I got to give Reggie Howard, and I'm assuming Dr. Ed Scott involved in this as well, I give them a lot of credit for getting 15 guys. I only know of one guy that flipped and went to Arkansas with Ryan Silverfield. There probably are more, but that I'm only aware of the one kid named Jude who is a wide receiver. All right, so many of you are wondering what is going to happen with the coach. We already saw USF beat everybody to the punch when they got Brian Hartline, the OC at Ohio State. That was a major hire, and most people are applauding South Florida. And look, they are committed. When you think about what they're doing with their campus, stadium, and practice facility, a joint venture worth hundreds of millions, it's a good looking, at least in pictures on paper and drawings, it looks like it's going to be fantastic. We'll see how all that plays out. But they certainly are committed, because if you get the Ohio State OC, you got to pay some bucks. I'm thinking at least $3-4 million, because the guy's making $2 million as a coordinator at Ohio State. So that commitment is certainly there. So where are the Tigers going? Well, the names you are hearing the most, and I'm not making this any kind of a huge revelation here. The names I keep hearing: Charles Huff from Southern Miss, who had been at Marshall; Buster Faulkner, who is the Georgia Tech OC; and then Jerry Mack, the Memphis guy from Whitehaven, who was a coach here with Larry Porter, who is now at Kennesaw State. His team plays Friday. Tulane may be looking at him. There's, I think, a lot of interest in Mac. But those are the 3 that you hear the most. 2 of them head coaches, 1 an up-and-coming OC, which is exactly the model the Tigers used before they got Silverfield. That's how they got Fuente. That's how they got Norvell. We, I guess, will find out for sure. All right. Back to Tiger Hoops last night. So Penny Hardaway won his 158th game. There is significance to that because he ties Dana Kirk as the 5th most winningest coach in the program's history, which is pretty impressive to me, honestly. I had no idea he was climbing up the ladder that quickly. Of course, he wins 20 games every year, and they play more games, let's be honest. And the conference that he's in is not as tough as the Metro that Dana Kirk had to coach in. But Dana Kirk did not play the non-conference that Penny did. Believe me. He liked Baltimore Junior College, which they played one year. So I give him a lot of credit. You know, it's interesting. So it's Larry Finch. Really, John Calipari had more, but he had some vacated. So it's Larry Finch is the number 1 all-time winningest coach, who was Penny's coach. Then John Calipari, even with the vacated, he's number 2. Zach Curlin is number 3. I got to ask you, Landon Schmidt, who do you think is the 4th winningest Tigers basketball coach? Because I lived it, and I was stunned.
Oh, is it so? This is not somebody that was probably my time?
It is somebody your time.
Did we just have him on recently?
Yes, we did.
Josh Pastner?
Yes, sir. Very good deductive reasoning. There's a proud U of M grad right there. Josh Pastner, number 4. I was actually kind of surprised at that. I was surprised at a lot of things last night. I mean, there was no Curtis Givens. He's still injured. That fall he took in the Bahamas, that was pretty nasty. I could see him being out a little bit longer, too. I hope he's back for Baylor, but I could see him really out. No one knew he was questionable before the game began, Sincere Parker, but he looked pretty good last night. Got double digits. 6 guys in double digits last night. There was no Thedford after the first half because he took a nasty knee-to-knee on his right knee. I hope he's ready for Baylor because he tried to come back in and he couldn't. He had ice on a big brace thing all second half. He took it off and just had a little sleeve on at the end, but he had that thing iced the whole time. He tried to work it out. He went on the bike, nothing worked. He couldn't come back. Oh, and Ashton Hardaway couldn't play because on Sunday he had his knee bent the wrong way, and so he had a sleeve on his left knee. He warmed up, but he wasn't ready to go, so he had some missing pieces. And then Penny decided he wasn't playing Aaron Bradshaw, who had his best game the game before, and he wasn't going to play Scylla, and he did at the very end. I'm not sure why. He played him 1 minute and 54 seconds late in the game. And, for the 5th time in 7 games, he had a different starting lineup. So, yeah, who knows what to expect now? And this is not necessarily like Penny. If you look last year, he had the same starting lineup every game. This year, I go there, I have no clue. I will tell you the truth. The leading scorer last night was Barry. And in full confession, I really like Barry. I like his family. I met them. Quante is a nice kid. He's so positive and enthusiastic. But when I was doing like my depth chart, I had him down like at 11 or 12, and he's the leading scorer, which shows you the absolute depth on this team. So, crazy. The Grizzlies back in town. They play tomorrow night. They'll play the Clippers. No Chris Paul. And we are about to chat with our good friend Pete Pranica. He's brought to you in part by ATC Fitness. You know, they got 2 different kind of memberships. They got the basic. They got the premium. They got 18 locations. It's a family business. They care. They always get the most updated, brand new technology for equipment. It's always clean. There's tanning. There's massage. There's no commitment whatsoever. There's no long-term contracts. You come, you pay. It's so reasonable. You don't like it, don't come. But you're going to fall in love with it. ATC Fitness. Exercise your right to look good. Always looking good. That's our friend, the TV voice of the Grizzlies. That is Pete Pranica. He joins us every Thursday in this time slot. The craziest thing happened in Atlanta. The Clippers, who the Grizzlies had just beaten in L.A., are in total disarray. They'd lost 14 of 16 games, and they sent away Chris Paul. 1, are you shocked at that, Pete? And 2, I keep hearing, would the Grizzlies have interest in Chris Paul? Good morning.
Good morning. Well, it's a surprise to anyone outside the Clippers. It's not a surprise if you are inside into it, though. The reporting is pretty solid that Chris Paul, he's a Hall of Fame player. He can be also a Hall of Fame pain in the butt. And I'm sure that he was trying to be helpful, but in a way that was distracting to the team and not helpful. And so it ends up being a very, very messy parting. This was supposed to be a farewell tour. They're probably going to retire his number. And now all of that is thrown into very real doubt. And but for all of us on the outside, of course, yeah, it's a major surprise. But that Clipper franchise right now is they've had no end of bad publicity for sure.
Well, they did win last night without him there, so there maybe there was a lot of unrest because of his attempts at leadership, and apparently he and Tyrone Lue were not talking for a little bit. I guess my question is, a 40-year-old guy who was playing 14 minutes a game, averaging 3 points and 3 assists, although up until now always thought of as an incredibly good character in a lot of different ways. Is he a guy that somebody would pick up for the rest of the year to be a leader on a team so he gets his year in? I think the Clippers are on the hook for his salary no matter what, but would there be a team interested in him? Would the Grizzlies be interested in him?
Well, would they? Potentially, but you got to cut somebody off the roster then. So, where are you going to make that cut? And I don't know what the salary number would be and what the implications would be as far as that's concerned. I think a team is going to be interested because he's Chris Paul. But you go into it knowing that he could be a very positive influence, as he was last year in San Antonio, because they were on an uptick and he was working with Victor Wembanyama and some really talented young guys. Or if he goes into the wrong situation, he could be a pain in the butt. And so it's going to depend on the team. If you are a team that has young backcourt guys that you want mentorship for, yeah, I think it's a good fit. This Clipper team, before they let go of Chris Paul, Wolo, they were the oldest team in the NBA by average age by a full year over Golden State. That's how old they are. So, I mean, you've got a bunch of old guys and younger guys that aren't performing very well and, frankly, aren't as talented as some other young guys around the league. So it's a very, very perplexing roster. It's a very old roster. Right now it's an injured roster. Bogdanovich has missed a lot of games. Derek Jones Jr. that they got for Norman Powell. And for me, them trading Norman Powell was probably one of the least intelligent moves they could have made. And Norman Powell's a big reason why Miami's playing well.
Let's shift to the Grizz for a minute. You're coming off, I think, a 4-game stretch on the road that if you were 500, you'd have been happy. You go 3-1, have a chance really until the fourth quarter of going 4-0 in this thing. So the Grizz are now 9-13. So we're really at the quarter mark. You've done this with so many injured players, including no Ja for a while. What would your grade be? How do you feel the Grizzlies have performed one quarter of the way through with what they have?
The record is decent given all the injuries they've been dealing with. You've really not had John Morant for very many games. Unfortunately, Jaren Jackson Jr. is not playing Jaren Jackson Jr. basketball. And you turn it around because Zach Edey is now on the floor. So I think that it's a fair assessment. Now, a lot of people will point to the fact that the Grizzlies are 1-13 now, I think, against teams currently 500 or better. That's obviously not very good, but you've taken care of business against the teams that aren't very good. So it's a mixed bag, but, if you have to grade this team, I think incomplete is probably where you have to put it because you haven't had Ty Jerome at all. You've had Zach Edey for, I think, 9 games, and you haven't had John Morant very often. So, I think there are positive signs. We're seeing a team that is averaging more assists than any other version of the Grizzlies in team history.
Wow.
They're assisting on more baskets percentage-wise than any other team in Grizzlies history. They have the league's leading bench. So they've gotten contributions from a lot of guys, and they've had to do it by committee. And they've been resilient. They've played hard. They've responded to Tomas Isilo's coaching. So, I think things are in a good place right now. Could they be better? Yes, absolutely. Will that be helped when you have healthy bodies? Yes, absolutely.
The Grizz, I think, had their 10-day with Corey Buffkin up yesterday. Is there a chance
Correct.
Ja is back? And I guess if they re-sign him, Ja's not coming back. I mean, what do you think is the status of Ja and any of those guys? I know you're like us. We don't really know, but you might have some inkling as to when some of these guys are coming back.
Yeah, there was an update promised on John, and we haven't gotten it yet. So I don't know if that evaluation is ongoing. The easy tell for when Morant comes back would be whether or not there is another 10-day hardship signing, because you can get a hardship signing if you have 4 players who have been out for 3 consecutive games and will miss the next 2 weeks. So if the Grizzlies were to be granted another hardship 10-day, that would tell me that Morant's out for 2 more weeks. If there isn't that signing, we can assume or deduce, Sherlock Holmes, that Morant will be back within the next 2 weeks. But There hasn't been an official update that I've seen on Morant's return. He was doing some light on-court work during the road trip, but that's really all I know at this point.
Anything on Jerome? Anything on Brandon Clark? I know Pippen's out for a while longer. Who else are we missing?
BC was doing some stuff on court. He said he was dunking again. We heard that from him, but he's still a ways off. Obviously, Pippen, that toe surgery, that's going to be a long time. There hasn't been another update on Ty Jerome. The last one was whenever that was. It was 6 weeks from that date that he'd be reevaluated. So, we're still looking at a fairly long runway before we get those guys back.
Vince Williams as a point guard, that was an experiment. That was because all the point guards are out. Give me your sense of how he has done, and has he maybe opened up another chapter for himself because of versatility?
Yeah, I mean, Vince, coming out of VCU, was averaging 3 assists a game as a senior, and he has good playmaking instincts. Sometimes can be a little loose with the handle. But what he has done, and I talked to one of the assistant coaches, and he said, you cannot believe how hard this kid has worked to learn this position and to be effective. And he's had a 15-assist game, a 17-assist game, and he's been good. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's not gonna be a starring point guard in this league, but he has done well enough to allow the Grizzlies to win the games that they have won. I look at him primarily, Wolo, in football terms, as a game manager. He's not going to win you the game, but he's not going to lose you the game either. And he's done a really, really good job, and he remains very humble and hungry. Talked to him after the Dallas game, and he says, man, I'm doing my best. I'm trying to learn this. I'm just trying to do the right thing and make the right play. And so his head is in a good space, and he's been effective.
Since you mentioned football, I wasn't going to bring this up to the last part, but I'll bring it up now. It's you and me. It's the Packers, the Bears, this weekend. Who do you like in this game?
Oh, I've been surprised by the Bears' success. I'm sure probably you haven't.
I've been stunned by it. Yes.
So we're going to find out. I mean, the Packers have been just kind of scraping it around, finding ways to win, and they haven't been doing it in dominant fashion. So I think this is going to be a real test. It's going to be a one-possession game. Which way it goes, I have no idea. And obviously the Bears are playing with a ton of confidence right now, and Ben Johnson has them in a real good space. So this is going to be nip and tuck. It's probably going to come down to a last-second field goal.
It's Green Bay, so in Green Bay. So I'm here's what I think. I think they're going to split this year. I was shocked that the Packers swept the Lions the way they did, but I think there'll be a split with the Bears and the Packers when all is said and done. All right, let's get back to basketball real quick. And while we're talking the Milwaukee area, are you surprised at what's going on in Milwaukee with Giannis? Took himself out of the game with a little calf tweak yesterday, and I understand those calf tweaks lead to Achilles. Everybody's scared like crazy of them now, but he's talking to them about the future. Apparently he did that last summer too. What's going to happen with Giannis and the Bucks?
Well, they're going to have an honest conversation like, okay, Lillard's hurt. Who are you going to put around me? Because I want to win another championship. And, he has earned that right, I think, as a player to talk to John Horst, the general manager, and say, what are your plans going forward? I'm sure that Giannis doesn't want to be part of a rebuild. So what are you going to do to reload? Because now you've got a Knicks team that is playing really good basketball. Boston eventually is going to come back. They're going to have a long runway with Tatum's Achilles injury. But Giannis wants to win another title. He's deep in his career. He's dealing with a lot of nagging injuries. You look at the injury report and, he's got tendonitis in the knees and the ankles are hurting and, there's all this stuff going on. So he realizes that he's probably in the fourth quarter of his career. So he wants to win another title. So what are you going to do? And Doc Rivers was unequivocal yesterday saying, Giannis has never asked for a trade. But I think it's fair as a max player and as a superstar player who's a linchpin of your franchise, what are you going to do to build this team around me? Giannis has been so committed to the Milwaukee community, and everybody that is in Milwaukee will tell you there could not be a better or higher character guy for the Bucks in Milwaukee. So it's not like, hey, I want to get out of a small market. It's, I want to win another championship. What are you going to do here in Milwaukee to make that a possibility?
Last thing, biggest surprise to you. 3 great stories. 1, OKC 21-1. 2, the Lakers, even without LeBron for a long time, 15-5. The Spurs, even without Wembanyama and Castle for a while, 14-6. Which of those 3 stories the biggest surprise to you? All, by the way, Western Division.
Yeah, Oklahoma City doesn't surprise me anymore. They may win 70 this year. They probably will,
wow.
Actually. I think they're that good. Lakers have Luka. Okay, so even without LeBron, they still have got Luka, and Luka is amazing. I think what San Antonio and Mitch Johnson have done there, I think that's been really good because De'Aaron Fox has stepped up. So what are they? They beat Orlando, I think.
Yes, they did. They beat Orlando in Orlando last night.
Okay, so they're now 7-2 without Wembanyama, and De'Aaron Fox is a regular 25-point-a-game scorer since he's been out. So they've relied on other guys. Harrison Barnes has picked up his game. So a couple of guys that a little later in their careers have played very, very well. And if you look at the numbers, even without Wembanyama, their offensive rating has been every bit as good, if not better, without him than it was with him. So they've covered up for that. Defensively, maybe not quite as good, but with Barnes and Fox, they have definitely handled their business without Wemby.
He's Pete Pranica. He's the TV voice of the Grizzlies. You can watch him or you can look over him if you go to the game Friday night because he'll be here when the Clippers, without Chris Paul, will be in town. Thank you, Pete. We'll talk next Thursday.
Sounds good.
That's our man, Pete Pranica, on the Grizzlies and on the NBA. He's brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows you're making a major commitment, whether it's that renovation. You don't want to leave your home, but you want the modern amenities. California closets, the island in the kitchen, the video room with the speakers on the wall. Everybody wants those. You get them in a new home. You can get them in your old home if you call Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Maybe you're looking for land. He's got it. Maybe you've got a piece of land that's been in your family for a while. Time to build that dream home. Everything's perfect, but you're not sure how to utilize it. This is his expertise. We're talking 3 generations, 80 years of Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Give him a call. He's a fun guy to talk to, and know this. The job's never done. He's always going to be there with you when he sees all the little details and the big picture all at once. He's the way to go. He's Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. We're on our way to Columbus, Ohio. Momentarily, we'll talk with the president of the College Football Writers Association, our weekly contributor. That's Bill Bender from the Sporting News. He comes your way in a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Maria's Cantina in South Haven is not your average Tex-Mex joint because they're serving up Mexican with a twist. Maria's Scratch Kitchen is the most creative and diverse menu around. Beyond the traditional huge quesadillas, chimichangas, and fajitas, Maria serves up hand-rolled Latin egg rolls, Cajun and Creole items like catfish, gumbo, and boudin balls, as well as the best sandwiches and 8-ounce burgers in town. Wash it all down with a house margarita for only $5.50 and happy hour every day till 6. Maria'sCantina.com, 6717 Airways, Mexican with a twist.
Hi friends, Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I'm sure you are well aware that the most wonderful time of the year is quickly approaching, and that wonderful lady in your life may even be dropping hints about what she'd like to find under the tree, or she may just be leaving it all up to you. Either way, we would love to help you make her happy, just as we've been helping men play Santa for over 4 decades, and that experience has taught us that you just cannot make a mistake with a gift of fine jewelry. Whether it's gold or silver, diamonds, or other beautiful gemstones, a gift of fine jewelry from Russell Brothers is sure to make her eyes sparkle, and then she knows how wonderful you know she is. It's a wonderful time of the year. Come see us at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, where beauty, quality, value, and integrity are the cornerstones of our business. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We head to Columbus, Ohio. Bill Bender is a busy guy between the college football playoffs and the coaching carousel. Got to be pulling his hair out with all these incredible stories. Let's start because everybody's talking Lane Kiffin here and Ryan Silverfield leaving. Let's talk carousel and a lot of these jobs. Let's first off get your impression on Lane Kiffin, who now we found out was really getting courted not just by Florida, but also by Florida State. What do you think of Lane Kiffin, his departure, and the acrimony now between Ole Miss and Mr. Kiffin? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dave. It doesn't bother me as much, I guess. Look, the business of telling Lane Kiffin to do with his life. If he wants to coach LSU, he wanted to. I didn't like that it overtook everything about rivalry week. I think we can agree on that. You know, we want to. The reaction is to roast Lane Kiffin for leaving during the season, but that's due in part because of the calendar of college football itself. I mean, nobody's roasting John Sumrall or Eric Morris or Ryan Silverfield. They wanted to coach there, and it's just because it's Power 4 to Power 4.
Well, no, I think it's also you're taking on you're taking on a job that many people consider to be their biggest rival. There are plenty of folks that think it's not Mississippi State, it's LSU. You're going to play them every year for the next 4 years. You've been playing them every year. That's the difference. Silverfield obviously is going from a group of 5 to a Power 4. That's more than double his income. How can you blame him for that, or Sumrall for that matter? And they're not going to their chief rival in their own league.
No, I understand that. I mean, we've watched Rick Pitino coach against Kentucky in that Louisville, the white suit with Louisville. You know what I mean? Like, these things happen, and the thing. I understand both sides is what I'm trying to say. I understand why Lane Kiffin left. LSU is a better job, in my opinion. 3 of the last 4 guys have won national titles. There's no question it's a better job. I also understand why Keith Carter and Ole Miss held the line, and said, hey, you either want to be here or you don't. And I understand why they did all that. And then you understand once you get to that point that it's like any other divorce, it's going to get messy at times. And now we're at the point where they said this and they said this, and all of that is immaterial because the breakup was going to happen anyway.
You addressed the biggest problem, and I don't know if college football is smart enough to do something about it, but it's the calendar. How in the world, in the middle of championship week, can you have early signing day? How can, if you're only going to have one portal opening, how can it be when we're going to have the playoffs that are starting up or in the midst of, and you're trying to recruit the best players that are going into the portal? That's ridiculous. It's penal to the coaches that are in the playoff. The calendar makes no sense. And the worst part is, how in the world can you tamper with a coach while the season is still going on? You got to do this like the pros, because you're pros now. The NFL, you can't talk to a guy until the season is over. It is so unfair to the competitive nature of the game itself that Lane Kiffin is not involved in the playoffs. His team's got home field advantage, and I'm not saying he's a good guy or a victim, because I'm not. But I'm saying it's ridiculous for the competitive aspect of the sport that your coach can't be on the field because he left to go to another job.
And the biggest reason to me why wasn't the stuff on the field. It was, yes, you just said it. Yesterday was early signing day. There's no way in the world that school, Ole Miss, would have allowed for Lane Kiffin to be the coach on signing day. Look, he flipped some guys to LSU. how can you take that seriously
Exactly.
at that point? And I think that's one of the large problems. It's different than the NFL where they have free agency and it's not till after the season. It would be like, the Bears or the Packers starting free agency the second they're out of the playoffs. Happen in the NFL, So I think it's just unfortunate that he can't coach the team, but I understand all the mechanisms as the why. And I'm not trying to be like I've said this all week. I've gotten ripped a little bit about it, but I'm not trying to be Lane Kiffin's defense attorney by any means. I just understand his decision process.
No, I'm in your corner on everything you've just said. It's the system. And my question for you, look, you are around these national guys all the time. You're around ADs, you're around coaches, you have insight into the way they think. Are they going to be smart enough to change this and get this calendar right? And I mean soon?
Have to, because, Lane, of course it's Lane. Lane's the first coach during the 12-team playoff era that this happened to, which is not even ironic. It's just fitting in some ways. And then if we can fix that, I think, the solutions aren't that hard. They're hard to make happen, I guess. But you do the signing day before the high school football season. You open the early signing period then. Hey, you do the portal in the spring after the playoffs and allow these kids to make the decision next year. We can bash on Lane all we want. But guess what? I kind of went out the door a little bit for me last year. When you have players that transfer from playoff teams during the playoffs, if that makes sense. And I didn't begrudge them either because they have to make decisions because of the calendar. So until all of that is fixed and makes more sense, more things that seemingly don't make sense, like Lane Kiffin leaving, are going to happen.
Well, just think in terms of player fairness and also of competitive spirit. We're supposed to play these games because they're interesting. We want to see competition, and you're limiting guys with the way this calendar is set up. All right, let me ask you about some specific jobs. What do you think about Silverfield to Arkansas?
I don't hate it. I think you guys know, been around him, obviously. He did a nice job in Memphis, and he did it for more than 1 year. That's kind of my thing. You're not really a one-year wonder. Arkansas is a tough job, but it's a job where you can win. If you find the right program builder, which Vanderbilt did, which Missouri did, and, I do think one of the best PSAs for the American Conference is that Silverfield and Gaulish and Morris and Summerall all upgraded.
Unbelievable.
It's bad in the short term for the conference because you lose 4 really good coaches, but it's good from the marketability of the conference. I'm really excited to watch Friday night's game between Tulane and I don't know if you guys are.
I am.
Yeah, I think it'd be a high-scoring, fun game. So
I'm surprised North Texas is favored, to be honest with you.
Tough one at home, or tough one on the road there, and it's going to be fun to watch. But Silverfield, it's a challenging job there at Arkansas. They've had some coaches come and go. Chad Morris didn't work out. Sam didn't work out after a couple years, so he'll have his work cut out for him, no doubt.
What do you think about Summerall to Florida?
Same speech, kind of. I like him a lot. He's won at 2 places. His winning percentage is really good. Seems like that kind of no-nonsense coach that just finds ways to win, has scheduled tough in between those 2 schools. Exactly what Florida needs from a standpoint of that. Now, are they going to get Billy Napier flashbacks? Because Billy Napier kind of had the same resume before he came. But, I think John Summerall, he was probably the most sought-after one, it seems like.
I think he was.
Some ways.
I think he's the surest bet of the 4. Morris is bringing a quarterback, so that's big, and that quarterback seems to be pretty good. The guy I have the biggest doubts about, you might not, but I'm not the biggest fan of Alex Golish with his antics and with his fake injuries and all that other stuff. But he had his choice between Arkansas and Auburn. He chose to go to Auburn. What's your take on that hire?
I like Alex's system. The offense around Byron Brown was really good. Their defense is aggressive. He really did well with the linebackers there. I think from an SEC standpoint, it's good to have a guy that's been there, worked with Heupel at Tennessee, So, I mean, Auburn, it sneaks up on you a little bit that Auburn's had 5 straight losing seasons. So, whoever comes in there is going to be up against it. Their recruiting wasn't real good this cycle compared to the rest of the SEC. And of the 4, I think you just said it. If I was betting on which one I would have the most success of the 4, I'd probably bet Summerall. He's got some experience in the conference as well. Florida's been dying to have a coach do it. He could do all right there. There's no question.
All right, the Tigers are in the market for a coach. It seems to me we're down to 3 names: Jerry Mack, Kennesaw State; Charles Huff, Southern Miss; and Buster Faulkner, the Georgia Tech OC. USF beat everybody to the punch to replace Golish. You've got to know this guy because he's right where you are in Columbus, Ohio, and that is the offensive coordinator, Hartline. What's he like? How good a hire is that for Southern? For South Florida?
The best recruiter of wide receivers maybe ever.
Wow.
I mean, look at the last 5 years. Ohio State's had 5 first-round picks at receiver in the NFL draft, and all of them are good. All of them are probably on your fantasy team. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Harrison, Wilson, Olave. It's incredible, the run of receivers that they've had, and 2 more coming in Cornell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. I'm really looking at that hire with great curiosity because we've thought for years that Coach Hartline was going to get another job, and he finally takes this one. A lot of people wanted him at Penn State. That ought to tell you what kind of hire that is in terms of splash for South Florida. He recruits well down there too, but we haven't seen him be a head coach. I actually like the hire because we get to see him do something before a huge job. I'm trying to think of that 5th receiver at Ohio State. I'm blanking on that, but point being,
he's great. We already know he's great. Don't worry about it.
They have a good one every year.
Last thing, let me ask you about the college football playoff reveal. Some interesting stuff for sure. Texas is going to complain because they're not going to be in the picture. We know for sure the American is going to be in, no matter whether it's Tulane or North Texas. JMU has a chance to be in with no ACC team. If Duke were to beat Virginia, that's kind of crazy in its own right. If BYU beats Texas Tech, which I don't think will happen, but if it does, that could mean Notre Dame is not going to be in. What were your thoughts when you saw that reveal?
Well, they kind of set the field for us, right? And then all of those results will make for some cleaner debates and some kind of safeguards for the committee, honestly. By putting Alabama over Notre Dame, they safeguard themselves because if Alabama loses like a normal 10-point game to Georgia, they'll still keep them in. They've answered the Miami-Notre Dame game debate twice. They're letting BYU play themselves in. So what I think eventually will happen is Alabama will probably be the final at-large team unless they get blown out by Georgia. And I think that safeguards them from putting Notre Dame and Miami head-to-head one more time. A lot of people think there's a lot of politicking going on for Miami. Dave, I've said this for 3 weeks now. If they were going to do it, why haven't they done it? Why would they wait till the last week to leapfrog Miami over Notre Dame when they haven't done it for a month?
I don't know.
It really puts them in a tough position because they're admitting they're wrong.
Explain to me how, if you look at the head-to-head, and I think you should. I think that's important. Why is Notre Dame ahead of Miami?
I think, head-to-head should matter. I think it's because of how Notre Dame's looked the last 8 weeks. They've been awesome. I'll say this. If I had to pick one of those 2 teams, and this isn't a playoff metric, if I had to pick one of those 2 teams to go run for 4 quarters with Ohio State, I'd probably pick Notre Dame. I know they lost the game head-to-head. I know the metrics are close. Miami should probably be in by the numbers, the metrics, the logic. And I just think Notre Dame's better. And I know that's the wrong thing to say because Miami beat them head-to-head. But right now on, what is it day? December 3rd, 4th? I think I lost track this
December
week.
4th. Yeah.
On December 4th, I'm taking Notre Dame over Miami. I shouldn't. But that's what the committee's been doing, and I don't think they're going to change their mind.
Here is one thing for sure. It's going to be December 4th all day long. That may be the only thing that's for sure for the rest of your day. Enjoy it, my friend. As always, we appreciate it, and we'll talk next Thursday.
Hey, sounds great, Dave. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
You got it. That is Bill Bender from the Sporting News on the crazy world of college football. More into that in just a minute with our good friend Jarvo. He's brought to you by the good folks at Family Leisure as we sit in this studio. It's the Family Leisure Studio at I-40 and Whitten Road, where you go and you see this great place. They've still got this hot tub and swim clearance sale where hot tubs start at less than $2,500. You get special financing available. You can get in-stock patio furniture up to 50% off. And if you mention Wolo, or you mention Landon, or you mention Brian Dacus, anybody from Sports 56, you mention them, you get a free gift when you get a hot tub. And I know from past history, you always got to look back and see. I know from past history, if you get a free gift from them, it's really good. Go check it out. Go see Billy. Go see Lindsay. Tell them we sent you to Family Leisure. We take the quick time out. We are back in a minute. We're heading downtown. The Hall of Famer Jarvis Greer is coming your way next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code HOUSE for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code HOUSE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code HOUSE.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. It's your last chance to get exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 35% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Celebrate the new year with the AutoZone Liberty Bowl as we welcome nationally known recording artist Matt Stell to the biggest party in town. He'll play all his hit songs at the President's Gala on January 1st at the Peabody and at halftime of the 67th AutoZone Liberty Bowl game on January 2nd. Get your tickets today by calling 795-7700. During the holidays, the Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We always end our Thursdays with the Hall of Famer. That is Jarvis Greer. We go downtown. Jarvo standing by. Here's the thing that amazed me the most. Out of all these stories that are going on yesterday, Memphis signed 15 three-star guys. They took guys away that Power 4 schools were looking at. They did that without a coach. That means Reggie Howard did a pretty good job. I'm sure Dr. Scott was on the lookout with him as well. But
also Ben Franklin. You got to add Ben Franklin to that mix.
Okay.
On the dollar signs, buddy.
Well, that's it. I think there's two things. One, everything's changed a little bit. We're going maybe away from coaches to a certain extent, going towards schools. But the biggest thing is you're correct. The NIL money. The NIL money means that's more important than the coach.
Yeah, it's strong, man, and it's like that's kind of like what scheme you run, what this, what that, this and that and the other. First of all, what am I going to get for my services? That's question number one. Then everything else is after that. And so I think they did a good job, and the school honoring its commitment to the guys that committed to them, and then the players saying, okay, well, coach gone, doggone it. But am I still going to get paid? Yeah, you're going to get paid. Okay, sign me up. It's not quite that simple because, Arkansas has got more money. They just do because, you turn the lights on in the SEC and you get $55 million from their TV money. The American gets what, 8 to 10?
Yeah, I think the SEC money is up considerably from that too. I think they're closer to 70 to 80 million now.
Oh, are they? Because I knew that the Big Ten was around 63. They got more money than the SEC, if you can believe that. But they do. What do you think? How do you think Ohio State is doing what it's doing? But Ryan was able to flip one to Arkansas, but Memphis was able to retain J.T. Taylor, the wide receiver that's supposed to be really, really, really good. And away you go. And kudos and credits to Reggie Howard for keeping the show running so far until the new guy gets here.
I heard. I was really curious as to how Reggie ended up getting this gig when you had both coordinators still around. And by the way, both coordinators have not gone yet to Fayetteville. I was told part of the reasoning behind that was because Reggie does not want to be the head coach, and both those other guys might want to be. So they did not want the interim to be in that position. So that was interesting. And man, Reggie did a heck of a job yesterday. There's no doubt about that.
And if you ever met Reggie, he's a very personable guy. He's a former Tiger player. He's the one that broke his neck.
Right.
What was it against UAB?
Yes.
Broke his neck against UAB, came back and played the next year, and then
made the
NFL and played in the Super Bowl and got an interception off Tom Brady. Plus, he's a very personable guy. I mean, you know that from talking to him. See, always a smile on his face, always a good word for you and your family. And, he's the kind of guy that you would like to have on your staff. And I get it. Do I think he's ready for a head coaching job right now? I don't, it's up to him to say if he wants it, but since he didn't, I think that's probably the right move because you don't want to Peter Principle yourself out before you're ready. You're ready to actually be in that spot.
I know the Tiger Brass at this very moment is interviewing on the road, interviewing potential candidates. I think, I don't know for a fact, but I think this could be a 3-person race. I think you have to consider Charles Huff, who is the head coach at Southern Miss, turn things around at Marshall, although he had some up and down moments at Marshall, then came, and there's no question what a great job he did at turning around what was a mess at Southern Miss.
Oh, man, Southern Miss was a doormat. I mean, you were wiping your feet on Southern Miss after being such a great program, and they wanted to have that program get back to where it was at M.M. Roberts Stadium down there in Hattiesburg. And now, he got them back there. At least they're relevant in their league, and that's and what 10-3 this year, I think, or something other like that.
Yeah, I think that's that.
So hey, and I think the sitting coach is the way to go. Keep going. I'm sorry.
And then you got Buster Faulkner. He's the OC at Georgia Tech, and you know how good they've been. Now, they've got their head coach who's really defensive minded, but they got. So this guy's really a important part of what they have done so well at Georgia Tech, and he's the model that the Tigers used before they hired Brian Silverfield, which was get the young hot OC.
Yeah, and that has worked in the past because Fuente was a a co-offensive coordinator, and let's see, Norvell, of course, was the offensive coordinator at Arizona State. So that model worked. And then Silverfield was he was the run game coordinator and the offensive line coach when he got the job. So that model has worked previously, but I think you want to have, in my opinion, unless you're just absolutely sure about a guy, but someone coming from a bigger program, just because they're at a bigger program doesn't mean that it's going to work. Because I remember the Tigers had a defensive coordinator come down, or defensive line coach from Ohio State come down here to be the defensive coordinator, and that did not work at all. And he later went to Mississippi State where they had more talent.
He was a DB coach at Ohio State.
DB coach, yeah. And so, it seems like the ones nowadays, you want the CEO to run your program because that's what it's about now.
Well,
it's about being a CEO rather than being the total on the field coach.
The third candidate is a Memphis guy from Whitehaven, Jerry Mack, who was
Jerry
a coach
Mack.
here under Larry Porter. I don't know if we hold that against him or not, but he's done a heck of a job at Kennesaw State. He's the new hot guy. There could be some interest from Tulane in him as well.
Right.
I've got the feeling we're going to find out by Saturday who the guy is. Probably meet him in a press conference on Monday.
I would think that once all this stuff settles out and they get the championship games are over, that's when the rest of this movement is going to happen. I think everything else is set as far as the teams that are in the college football playoff, and then Penn State's still out there. Who would have thought that? They were the first one.
I know.
To have an opening, but and it's still open, which is crazy. But
a couple of guys they've had three guys they've gone after, including Sataki here lately from BYU that have just been, kept by their opening. Their opening made those guys rich. Rule, Sataki. I'm trying to remember who the third guy was that they went after, and the school secured them for long term. Just because of the interest,
right? And it's like, you can't win the big one, James Franklin. If you're ranked in the top 5, he's had problems. Anything 5 and below, then he's beaten everybody. So and then the teams that are in the top 5 in their league, Ohio State and Michigan, when Michigan was up there for a while until they got put on probation and their coach left. Nobody was beating them. Nobody. Oh, we're mad because Penn State's not beating them. They're not, the coach can't beat them. Well, nobody was beating. But they were beating everybody else, and they was slaughtering everybody else. You remember that the Cotton Bowl, what were they? They were 15th, I think, 10th. They were 10th, I think. 12th, somewhere in there, top 12. That was a really good team.
That was
the best team.
Yeah, that was the Micah Parsons show. Micah Parsons doesn't play in that game. The Tigers beat Penn State that year.
Yeah, and Norvell left, and you're without your defensive coordinator, and a couple of other players. Joey was hurt, and it's like one of those things where, that was the best Tiger team ever, I believe, and they put up a really good fight, but Penn State was just too strong, and so Penn State wins the Cotton Bowl, but yet and still they're going to fire him because he can't beat Ohio State, and that's the way it is at some place. He's beaten everybody else, but he couldn't beat Ohio State, so he's out.
How do you think Ryan Silverfield will fare at Arkansas?
I think he'll do well. I think Arkansas needed stability, and that's what he's going to give them. I think that they had been kind of like, man, whoa, this guy's going to be good. Brett Bielema was a good hire, but he was a Big Ten guy, and it just didn't work for him here. He's doing well where he is right now, back in the Big Ten. And then they went through, I think Pittman was okay, but, that team was snake bit at the end. They just kept fumbling or making the wrong mistake at the wrong time. They had talent. It wasn't that they didn't have talent. They just couldn't get it done, and they ended up having a bad record, and they let him go. But I think Silverfield will, he runs a good, clean program. He gets guys to come, whoa, that's loud out there. It's still outside, blowing off the leaves.
Wow.
Hey, man, that's what the HOA does. They make sure everything's clean down here in Harbortown. I'm so happy that we have a chance to be retired and live life. But it's like, you have I lost the train of thought. This coaching search though for Memphis. I think once this weekend gets done, like Saturday night, it'll probably, the papers will be signed, for whoever's going to coach Memphis, and then they'll either introduce them Sunday or Monday.
The Tigers.
That's what I think.
The Tigers did potentially lose a player yesterday. Arrington Maiden said he's going to enter the portal.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. You can't enter the portal if your coach leaves until the new coach comes in. So anything Arrington Maiden might have said could be retracted after he meets the new head coach.
I think he even said, I'm gonna go say now, I'm gonna put my name out there, but I'm gonna give whoever the new person is a chance to see what the train of thought is on here. And here's the deal with both Arrington Maiden, who got a lot of run at quarterback, or got some run behind Brendan Lewis this year, and A.J. Hill, who almost directed a comeback for the Tigers in their UAB game, but had some problems on the goal line. And he was the Tigers' prized recruit, probably the best quarterback. No doubt the best quarterback recruit ever out of high school. I think they have to know that, hey, look, it's either my job or it's his job, and I got a chance to battle it out on the field, in the spring and in the fall, in fall camp. And so it's going to be one or the other. So, you want to stay here and have a chance to play, in the renovated stadium, new coach, new enthusiasm, and a chance to lead the Tigers. You want to take your chances in going somewhere else where somebody will have to guarantee you that you're going to get the PT. It's not up to you whether you're going to do it.
Time will tell. First step is get a new coach. I think we'll have that as the weekend comes to a close. Jarvis Greer, as always, we appreciate it. We'll talk next Thursday.
Fast.
Yeah, always does.
All right.
Now you can go outside and blow your leaves. Take care.
No, that's paying someone to do that. Man.
I got
once you reach our status days, you pay somebody to do it.
There you go. The rich Jarvis Greer. We appreciate it. Thank you, Jarvo.
All right, rich man Dave Veloci.
That is Jarvo, brought to you by Sheldon. Sheldon knows. Could be the holiday season. Doesn't matter to him. You know that he has sold houses on New Year's Eve, for example, on Christmas Day, for example. Sold it on Thanksgiving. He might have sold one this Thanksgiving. That's the way he works. 24/7, 365. He's got this incredible marketing strategy. It's got the 3 Ps in it. Ask him what that's all about. But here's a guy who will tell you, if you think the holidays mean you can't sell your house, you're wrong. It's always selling season, especially right now because there's lower interest rates, they're stable, and if you wait till spring, everybody sells in the spring. Take advantage of a guy who knows the times and has got the strategy. That's my guy, Sheldon, who tells you. Talk to 2 or 3 real estate agents. Just make sure he's one of them. You can call him 24/7 at 483-0546 or go to MemphisRelocate.com. It's simple, MemphisRelocate.com or 483-0546. You want the job done, you call Sheldon. We're done. That'll do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow. We make picks tomorrow. All the championship games. We'll make our picks on those. Who knows? There could be news leaking on a coach. We got plenty to talk about. Andy Schiffman on the NBA. That all will be tomorrow. We'll see you then. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everybody.